I don't even know what I drink
Hey
today.
everybody, it's Zafir from No Love Lost 2.0, and today I'm in New York. So I'm here with Jesus, and y'all remember Grinder Stories Part 1 and Part 2. Those were some of my best episodes. So I decided, since I'm in New York, let's do something in person. So that's what we're gonna do. So say what's up, Jesus.
Hey, hey, hey.
So we're gonna get into the pieces. So me and Jesus was having a conversation earlier about could you be friends with your ex? So we're gonna top back off of that, and then we're gonna get into them nasty, good grinder stories that y'all love. Keep showing that love, and let's get into the pieces. So Jesus, how is it that you are actually friends with your ex? I can't do it, man. I can't do it.
Yes, yes, yes. I mean, it's 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 hard. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie.
Oh.
It's hard. But it's it really comes down to for me, it came down to like actually, knowing that regardless whether we together or not, I still love him.
Mhm.
And when you love somebody, you can't just forget about them, right?
That's right.
Like even though we couldn't work as a couple, it's okay to try as friends. We won't be doing the same thing as we did when we were a couple. Where, the things that I did love about him the most was his personality and how, he can relate to me on some activities that I like to do, like hiking and stuff like that. So those are things that you would find in a friend as well, right? So
Mhm.
yeah, it's bittersweet.
Yeah, I can see what you're saying because you were in a long-term relationship for quite a few years. So it's just like this person isn't just who you lay with and who you live with. This is also supposed to be your friend. And that's what I always tell people. I'm like, it's so crazy how we'll get in these relationships with people and they become our best friends to either our enemies or somebody that hurt us in a way that we don't know how to heal from it and keep them around. Me personally, like I've been married before. My ex-husband was my friend for 4 years before he was my husband. And to this day, I'm still friends with him. We don't talk like we regularly do, but every throughout the year we check on each other, make sure each other alive. But I consider him my best friend at a point. So it's just like the love never dies for people. Sometimes it dies down, but it doesn't die for people. And then if we can have them in our physical being, even after an interruption in the relationship, another relationship could grow from it. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I mean, I 100% agree with that. Um, yeah, I mean, like my ex and I, we were together for 6 years. And how we broke up wasn't cordial. It was really actually very toxic. I'm not gonna go into too much detail just
Mhm.
for his respect, and his privacy, but it wasn't a great situation. I mean, we didn't speak for 2 years. We was broken up for three. We just hit three now. Yeah. Um, but it comes to a point that we can if we can overlook that because we get into arguments and fights with our friends all the time and things like that, and it's okay for us to get to be friends with them again. But why can we do the same thing with somebody that we had feelings for?
Yeah, a deeper, just a little deeper, a different, deeper connection.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, like I've always said, you don't own anybody,
Come on.
and once we sit there and realize, like, okay, I can only control my actions, my emotions, and how I respond to things. you know, you get to sit here and be like, well, the core of this whole thing is that regardless, I still want him in my life. And, fortunately, he was able to see that and we, were able to sit down and talk about it, and he has his relationship and he brings it up. And boy, does that grind my gears sometimes, but why wouldn't it, right?
Yeah, let me tell you something. My ex husband, I won't say too much, but I have told y'all a little bit. The guy he's been with since we broke up was the guy he cheated on me with. And that relationship was very toxic, very toxic, like really bad, a lot of domestic violence. We didn't have that type of relationship. And at one point, I'm not gonna lie, I was like, not about domestic violence, y'all, but the fact that, you made me out to be something I wasn't to everybody. And yet now you are really going through what you spoke over us. And that's what you get. But then I had to, say that is not the right way to think because at the end of the day, I care about this person. I don't want them hurt. I'm hurting, but I don't want them hurt because I'm hurting. I just want them to hurt too. But I want you to feel how I feel. And that's human. We all have that in us. It's selfishness because we do get that narrative when we get in these relationships with people like, oh, you belong to me. You're mine. Like it's property. Nobody is your property. It doesn't matter if you're married, if they're your kids, everybody is gonna do what they have to do for themselves eventually. So it took me a long time, but I can't say like even the first like a week after me and my ex broke up, we still were talking. And it's crazy because he was still asking me for dick pics and all this. And I'm like, you cheated on me with a man that you met on the internet you never met in person. And I said, and this is what? I was like, but it was crazy to me, but I laughed it off and eventually I was doing it. But then of course, I was, and then eventually I was like, you know what? This isn't helping me. I have to separate the sexual aspect and take that out of it and just see you as a friend. And I commend you for that because, like I even said, I can't see it in person. I can have the conversation on the phone. I can hear about it, but seeing it in person, I think even I'm a married man now. I just still wouldn't want to see it in person. I just because I had a different love. Everybody you date, not just you have sex with people you date and build connections with, it's like you have a love for them even if it dies down. It doesn't disappear. Love doesn't disappear in the air because somebody dies. Your feelings for when people die, your feelings don't stop for them. It just changes and it lays dormant sometimes somewhere else, and you just take it to the grave. But I like for all my exes except for one, and you know who the hell you are, devil. Um, like I don't give a damn about that devil, but the rest of them, I always will have a love for them and a respect. But I think some of them, I don't care if they're in relationships, whatever. Who cares? Look at y'all now, bad body built bitches. Was talking all that shit when I was the thick one. Now y'all bigger than me. But like so, it's like something like other than my ex husband, I really wouldn't care. I really wouldn't care. But the motherfuckers, fuck y'all.
No, I mean, I totally understand that, and it's crazy because, you know, now that it's actually real, like he's back in my life, and we actually have a better relationship in person than we do over the phone or even texting. Like we barely even text each other.
So y'all have that friendship still remain, even though the sexual part of the relationship and the feelings may have dissipated in a different way and broke down. That y'all still have the connection of, you know what, I loved you at one point, and you're my friend,
Yeah.
and that I can see why you can still be around them because that does feel good. It's just because I know for me, an insecurity for me is that people don't care about me. Is that they care about me when they need me, and then they don't care about me once I'm not around. And it's just like I could get how that could be hurtful to because sometimes we care about people and then they just say like we never existed, like we're dead, like I was that bad, and it makes you question yourself sometimes. What do you think?
I mean, I agree. I agree. But like, I don't know. Now that we actually really going deep into this, like, it- I,
I told you this
I
was
would.
something I wanted to talk about.
I mean, you know, don't get me wrong. My ex gave me the opportunity to fuck. I'm fucking. Like, don't get me wrong with that, right? You know what I mean? Like, like he looks good. I don't care. I mean, I know it may make me look a little vulnerable, but it's true, and the fact that I'm okay and I'm happy because before, I mean, I haven't fell into another relationship since,
Yeah,
and so
by choice.
yes, by choice, not because I don't got his. Trust me, I get
Jesus
them,
got
and you gonna hear that in the grind story.
it.
But no, it's because that breakup was hard for me. I really thought that he was mine, even though looking at the relationship, it wasn't good. It was toxic, and we wasn't meant to be together as that. We were able to coexist with each other for 6 years because of our relationship and how we liked each other as a person, and for the most part, at least me. But so going back and then just really saying, no, fuck it. I want to be your friend. I just want you in my life. And ever since he has been back in my life, honestly, there was a gap when he left, and it's filled.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Even though I don't have him like that, even though he
still
has
have
a
your friend
boyfriend,
back.
I have my friend back,
Oh
yes.
my God. That really touched me, y'all. And y'all know Sophia don't get touched like that too often, too much. But because I definitely actually this is the first time I ever had a conversation with somebody like this, real talk, and I can relate. I really can relate is that I am glad that my ex-husband didn't stop being my friend because he that was my best friend at one point. He's not my best friend now, but he was. And he knew me in a way, even though it's a different time in my life now, he knew me when I was someone else before I became who I am now. And because of him, I am who I am now to the person I am married to now. And it taught me losing that relationship and still being friends with him like you are with your ex, it taught me how not to change myself but to improve characteristics in myself that I was not good at in the previous relationship. And it also prepared me to be the best version of myself now. So it's sometimes we get mad at our exes and oh, I can't stand them, I hate them now. But they did come and bring something to you to either make you better or to make you see something about yourself you needed to love more. Because sometimes we would be with people like I knew I had one ex. I was with the dude the first 4 months. I said, this is not gonna work. But the comfortability of having somebody around is what kept me around. And I can't say I didn't love the person. I became in love with the fact that I had somebody versus just loving me and somebody loving me the way I love me. Because then I realized the last 4.5 years I was with that person, I said, "Oh, this was terrible. This was straight toxic." And it was fucking, he was popping perks, he was doing coke behind my back, and still he stole my rent money, and I still stayed with him. I bought him a car, I co-signed on the car, like I was stupid. But what he taught me was I really didn't love myself because I saw this and still to continue with it because it was the comfortability of having somebody with me.
I mean, and that's why like I got this new saying. It's like, when I do meet the person, my person, whether it's, whoever it is,
Mhm.
the first thing that my ex has taught me is because I loved him enough to pause my life and help him grow.
Mhm.
But I learned something deeper than that. And it's, I would want my person to love him so that he can love me. And I will love me so that I can love him.
That's right.
You know what
I
I mean?
definitely, and if y'all don't understand what he's saying, I'm gonna just break it down in simpler terms is um what he learned from his ex, from my perspective, was the way he could you didn't close your heart out to love, and the way that you love that person one time, you have the ability to give that again, but you want it in the same capacity. You are not gonna pause again. You are gonna grow with each other, and you're gonna live and grow and mold with each other over time, whoever that person may be. And that's what I got from it. What I took from it was that yeah, you may have paused yourself and you don't regret that because it also taught you, you know what? I got to give all to me and I can give all to somebody else too, but they got to give all to me too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, yeah, yeah. No,
I think
yeah.
that's what
No, what?
that's
No, I mean, yeah, yeah,
what
you did.
okay.
I mean, and what, and like basically what I was, saying is like, yeah, you have to learn to you got to love yourself. You have to love yourself in order to be able to love someone else. You know what I mean? Like you can't be a teacher, right? Out of, as a 5-year-old. No, you have to learn the system so that you're able to teach it to others,
You have to make
right? You
mistakes.
have to make mistakes. That's a part of growing. And that's the thing. When you're in a relationship, they expect you to be in a relationship and not to have any arguments. And that's a great relationship. That's a horrible relationship. Somebody is cheating.
Somebody's cheating.
Okay. So if you can't argue with your partner, that's what's growing. You're not gonna always agree or have the same view as your partner. And that's okay because he's him and you're you. And so, you know, damn, I lost my train of thought.
No, you got it. You just saying he's him and you're you, meaning that we're gonna be two different sides of the coin, but we have to know how to be one. That's exactly what you're saying. And I get it because like I tell my husband this all the time. I tell him, I say, listen, baby, I said, we can argue, but we're going to argue respectfully, meaning that we are going to stay on topic to what our issue is. We're not going to bring anything from the past argument into this argument. I said, and we're not going to curse at each other, and we're not going to raise our voice. And I told him when I got with him, I said, because I will never have a relationship like that again. I've been there. It does not work. I won't even participate. And, then being with these exes or these past situations, it teaches you to set different goals and boundaries for yourself to what you want to deal with. So you don't end up dealing with something, because I have said it. I have dated the same man more than once. I have literally, I have been in 4 serious relationships, and I feel like I've dated out of 3 of them. I feel like I dated the same person, the same soul in different bodies. And I always say, because you know what? It was with something in me attracting that, because that was something in my weak part of myself, an insecurity in me that made me attract those people and those souls.
No, going back to, damn, I'm high right now.
It's all right. We in New York. It's legal, y'all. It's legal. It's legal. I'm not in the South, y'all. Yes, the trees, the earthly got 'em things. But I just want you guys to understand that love is doesn't die. It changes. And that's okay.
You know
And
what?
yes, it's okay. And I always say, if you can befriend the ex, that's a blessing. If you can, if you can't, that's okay too. But do not go into situations unhealed with yourself, not just from the situation, like, oh, I feel good, I'm ready to date again because I love, like Jesus, he's taking the time for himself to love on himself and to only pour himself into somebody who deserves and gives him the same treatment, the same love that he wants to give. And that means that he is open to love. He is choosing not to pause love, but to allow it to come in when he's in the space to receive it and get it the same way. And that's all right, y'all. Make sure y'all keep showing that love to No Love Laws 2.0. And don't forget, you can subscribe and share on Apple, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and Amazon Music. And now, y'all, we're going to get into part 3 of Grinder Stories next episode.